Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday at 7 o'clock. I am Seth Eisenberg. I keep doing that wrong. And this is a conservative corner. So welcome if you're a return customer. Thanks. If you're a first timer, thanks. Hang out for a while. You might like it. And as always, the chat's open in all the rooms that we're in, like Rumble, X. So if you got a comment or question or something you want to get off your chest, just post it up there. And I try to get to all of them. Sometimes I don't notice them right off the bat, so don't think I'm ignoring you. It's just I'm old and some things slip and I don't see everything. I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes I make mistakes. So just post it and I'll get to it. Hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody had a good weekend. The weather was pretty nice. I mean, it got cold at night, but during the day it was nice. I didn't do very much. I didn't accomplish very much. I was going to try to change the kitchen light in my kitchen, but couldn't do it. Going to have to wait to do it this week. So I'm cooking in darkness. Well, not really darkness. I got lights, just not enough lights. It's like Little House on the Prairie out there sometimes, but I'll get over it. And then back to the grind tomorrow. Yay. It's just a treat. I got to start buying lotto tickets or something. This working stuff's for the birds. To be rich would be nice. You can dream. We can dream. Got to be in it to win it. I don't feel like spending money on, like, was it like a 1 in 1.9 billion chance that you can win? Got a better chance of getting eaten by a shark while you're riding a unicorn, being abducted by aliens and struck by lightning at the same time. Something like that. But yeah. So I'll just think about it and not do it. Anyway, got a lot to talk about, so we'll jump right into it. Just in case you lived in a house like I do with no lights or electricity. November 11th was Veterans Day. So pretty, should be a sobering day. A lot of people get that confused with, excuse me, they get that confused with other holidays. Like, have a happy Veterans Day. Have a happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is to remember those that died serving the country. Veterans Day is those who serve. So it's good to say, have a happy Veterans Day. It's not good to say, have a happy Memorial Day. It's like going to a funeral and say, hey, hope you all have a good time. You don't do that. And a lot of people get it confused. Like, oh, it's Veterans Day. So I can say, thank you. Oh, it's Memorial Day. So I should say thank you or memorialize it. No. Remember, Memorial Day good or Veterans Day is good. Memorial Day is not good. So you can say happy Veterans Day or thank you or whatever you'd like to say. On Memorial Day, it's for those that didn't come home. So there's really no one to say thank you to. You can thank families, and I wouldn't even say thank families. You can, wish your best to families that have lost service members in wars or overseas. But yeah, Veterans Day is happy. Memorial Day is not happy. And that happens a lot. I know Memorial Day, I'll get people text me, hey, happy Memorial Day. It is what it is. It doesn't offend me. I don't think it offends any other veteran. It's just, just remember vet, like vet for your dog. Good. Memorial service, bad. It's the best way to remember it. But I'm sure people forget. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal. You're not going to offend any. Well, I don't want to say that. You might upset somebody because there's always somebody out there who's going to be upset by something. But I'm not going to be upset if someone tells me, Happy Memorial Day. I'll just politely correct them, let them know, hey, look, I appreciate it, but today is Memorial Day, so we're remembering the service members that died. Veterans Day is for those that serve. So I have no problem. It's like when people say, Happy Holidays. Now you can say Happy Christmas to me, or Merry Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah, or whatever. You don't got to say Happy Holidays. You're not going to offend me. And I say Happy Merry Christmas to people on Christmas. When it's Hanukkah, I say Happy Hanukkah. There you go. And no one's ever got mad at me. And if they do, I don't care. I really don't. I past the point of caring whether people are offended by me saying Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah. I really don't care. And if that offends you, you have some other problems going on in your life that you probably should really reevaluate and look at. Because if that sets you off, yeah, maybe you should try decaf. Just as tasty as the real thing. But yeah, people will get upset, and I laugh at them. Now this okay. Now let me correct that. This next thing I'm going to show you didn't upset me. It was just like more like a WTF moment. Like, what? Are you kidding me? I've never heard of this, and it doesn't mean it's not true. Just I myself have never heard of this. So we have these two idiots. I mean, they were in the new Wizard of Oz. The black chick looks fake. I mean, she looks plastic. And there was that Ariana Grande. It looks like she's like going through chemotherapy. They both look horrible. Horrible. You can see every bone in their. You can count the ribs they have. But this is gorgeous. Heroin chic is gorgeous. They're both horrible actresses. I mean, really horrible actresses. I would rather watch paint dry than anything that they're in. And I didn't see the Oz they did because I could just tell it was going to be some political bullshit thing rammed down my throat because that's what they do in Hollywood now. Either they remake movies that have already been made because no one's got any imagination anymore, and then when they remake them, they change it to like some completely political stance, propaganda film on whatever the director thinks is important. So here we go. So on this one in Oz, apparently I didn't know this. Um, Oz is for gay people. I did not realize that. This is what these two were running around, flapping their teeth about. There's a strong connection between the Wizard of Oz and the LGBTQ plus something else waffles trees community. I did not know that. I thought it was just a goddamn movie. Who knew it was made for homosexuals in the LGBT community? It's been that way for decades. Apparently, I didn't know that. The big factor is Judy Garland's iconic status as a gay icon. I didn't know that either. The film's themes of found family and acceptance, and the use of the coded phrase "friend of Dorothy" to identify other gay people in the mid 20th century. The original Oz book by L. Frank Baum was also noted for containing queer themes and characters. I, I, this is all news to me. I remember watching, Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland when it came on TV, the black and white to with the color, and not once did I remember seeing anybody who I thought was gay or was in that community. Nothing about it seemed to be associated with the LGBTQ plus purple waffles, bald tires, and concrete. I none of it. But apparently I was wrong. Apparently Oz is specifically for gays, and that's where the phrase "friend of Dorothy" came. I've never heard anybody in my life say that, and I know some gay people. They never said, "Hey, I'm a friend of Dorothy." Never. Um, Once again, it's just some political crap that's getting shoved down our throat now from Hollywood. You can't go to a movie anymore to just be entertained. You can't. You can't sit down, get your like $50 bucket of popcorn and your $40 soda and your $70 chocolate candy bar and watch a movie and be entertained. Just zone out on the movie and have fun. Now you sit down and you're hit over the head with political ideology like this, homosexuals hitting your head over and over and over and over. You have to accept this. You have to accept it. You have no right to not accept us. Or you get the other ones where it's overseas and Americans are bad, or white people are bad, white people. I mean, you can't just go to a movie and be entertained anymore. I think the last movie I went to was a slasher film, and I'm trying to think what it was. with the clown in it. God, uh, the Terrifier 3. Um, and that really, since it was like a slasher film, couldn't really have a political angle. It was about some nut in a clown outfit hacking people up. I mean, there's A movies, there's B movies, and there's that movie. That was like a Z movie. I'm surprised it didn't go straight to DVD in the bin at 7-Eleven that you could get free when you buy a Slurpee. But at least there wasn't some political angle to it. You could just sit down and zone and just watch the movie and not have to be assaulted by somebody's political ideas. And that's what I miss about old Hollywood when they just were there to entertain us. Now we've got people who look like they haven't eaten in 7 months that are preaching to you about what you need to do and what is right. And then if you don't agree with them, you're wrong. I don't think Hollywood remembers who pays their bills. It's us, it's you, it's me, it's everybody goes to the movies. And if they keep making us feel like we're the bad guys because we don't agree with them, they're going to be jobless. And I know that'll never happen because there's too many morons in this country that think people in Hollywood are gods, that they can do no wrong and they're right. We should listen to them. People, I think I said it a couple Sundays ago, actors and actresses are professional liars. They play a role, they pretend to be somebody else. And that's not who they are. That's what they do all day is they lie. And you've got I think Liam Neeson's a good one. He complains about gun violence. Every movie he's in, he's got a gun and he's shooting somebody. But he's supposed to be anti-violent. You got Javier Bardem, whatever, that idiot guy, I can't remember his name, from No Country for Old Men with the weird haircut, who's anti-Israel because Israel's a genocide, is committing genocide and killing people. Most of the movies in it, he's killing people. This is what you deal with Hollywood. You've got these nuts that are just so out of touch with reality that it's almost comical. Oh, cut myself. I don't know how I did that. But that's what we deal with. And they had to get back to just entertaining. It's like, entertain me and shut up. If I want to know your political opinion, I'll ask you. Until then, act. Make me laugh, make me cry, scare me, make me think. But stop beating me in the head with political ideology that you agree with and think that I have to agree with. I can't look at anyone. They're disgusting. God, they're horrible looking. And I think Ariana Grande at some point actually was an attractive woman. Now she, like I said, looks like she just walked out of a concentration camp. And that other chick is just annoying. I mean, she's one of those people that thinks she knows everything and all that stuff. And it's annoying. They're both annoying. It is what it is. I don't know if you heard about this. This is pretty funny. Let me find the notes on this one. It is in Massachusetts, and they want to put up a statues to honor police officers and firefighters, and it's ignited months of heated debate across the south of Boston, with critics arguing that taxpayer money to display Catholic imagery on government property violates the Massachusetts Constitution and the First Amendment established clause. Once again, it says freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, so that they could just stuff that in their pipe and smoke it because that's an invalid argument to say, well, the First Amendment said, no, shut up. Shut up. And you know that you're on the wrong side when the ACLU agrees with you. If they think that you have a case, you are definitely on the wrong side because they're just a bunch of hustling, ambulance chasing, disgusting slimeball lawyers that need racism to continue so they can get paid. So no matter what it is, they're going to find racism with it or violation of your rights. No matter where, they're going to find it. Truly ambulance chasers. Join the Freedom from Religion Foundation. That sounds like a fun group of people to hang out with. And the state filed a lawsuit on behalf of 15 residents from varying faith traditions. So you have 15 miserable people in South Boston that got nothing else to do with their time but be offended by statues that are being put up to honor police officers and firefighters who have died in line of duty. I can't imagine being such a miserable son of a bitch that I'd fight that. If your life is that empty and you are that miserable and angry and whatever else you'd have to be to fight this, just go play in traffic. Really, do the world a favor and just go away because you're not doing anybody any favors. You're a drain on society, and your existence is pointless. You are pointless. This is this is to honor people who've died, saving other people's lives. And you're upset because it has what? I think it's Saint Michael and Saint. I can't remember the second. There we go. Saint Florin. Um, Saint Michael the Archangel, I apologize, and Saint Florin reflects a century-old artistic and cultural tradition of honoring courage and sacrifice, not a violation of the Constitution's separation of church and state. It's a statue, really. And these people who are fighting this, who are saying this is a violation of the Constitution, we can't do it, are the same idiots that are fighting to have illegal immigrants come into this country wholesale. That's okay. Breaking the law is cool because that makes them look good at their PTA meetings or their HOA meetings. But God forbid you try to put up statues of angels that are there to honor people who've died in the line of duty. Then you've crossed the line. Breaking the law, good. Honoring people who've given their lives to save other people, bad. Illegal immigrants flooding into our country, good. Police officers and firefighters being honored is bad. These people are trash. That is trash. That is the definition of a knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing inbred. That is what they do. They look for things to be angry about, then they scream and yell and pull their hair. I'm going to sue, and then they do it. And then when they get done with that case, they go look for something else that upsets them, and they start the whole process again. What is it, like 1 billion sperm, and theirs made it? I mean, these people are a joke, and they need to be ignored. People like this need to be ignored in the community and by society. They need to be outcasts. If you don't like it, go to China. If you don't like how we do things here, go to another country. See how many, go to the Middle East and complain about religious stuff in the Middle East. And if they don't kill you, they'll just throw you in prison for the rest of your life and let you starve to death. Go somewhere else in the world and bitch about the way they do things and find out what happens to you. Most places in this world will kill you. The government will kill you. Most places will put you in prison for the rest of your life. If you don't like the way things are done here, go somewhere else. But just shut up. You just shut up. We're getting tired of this bullshit. 15 people in a city of what, like 4 or 5 million? Why is anybody paying attention to them? Why are they not being laughed at every time they open their mouth? You don't like it? Don't look at it. Really, don't look at it. You don't have to go to where they're putting this up. Walk by it. Don't look. You're 15 people in the city. You have no say. Nobody cares. I bet that group they started that they're talking about, the Americans United for Separation of Church and State, are probably those 15 people. I don't think it's some big international or national group. It's probably the 15 people made this group so you can go, hey, look, there's a group out there that doesn't agree with it either. The Americans United for Separation of Church and State, they don't agree. They're backing us up. It's because it's you 15 idiots. You started your own little club, and now you're using it to like make it look like you have a legitimate argument. So I hope Boston ignores them. Hope they go to court. The judge throws it out and laughs at them and then charges them to pay for the city's time of trying to defend the case and bankrupts these 15 people. That would make me happy. I'm tired of people like this. If you don't like something, just shut up. It's not hurting anybody. It's not going to like cause traffic jams. Nothing. It's not going to affect your life at all. And they're the big taxpayer money. If you think this is the only thing they're using taxpayer money for, that's probably, let's say, not important, you're dumber than I think you are. I guarantee you they've got money going to illegal immigration to feed them and clothe them and house them. Probably far more than the $800,000 is going to cost to put these statues up. I guarantee you way, way more than it's cost to put these statues up. But these idiots aren't saying anything about that because that's good. Remember, breaking the law is good. They'll support criminals. Won't support police officers and firefighters. Criminals, good. Firefighters and police officers, bad. That's all you need to know about those people. I mean, I don't understand how you can be so miserable in your life, so shallow, empty, lonely, how insignificant you have to feel as a human being that you go out of your way to find things to be upset about so you can scream and yell about them and then sue people over them. I'm going to sue the state. You know what? I don't even want to talk about it anymore because they're not worth the breath I've expended on them so far. I mean, there's a lot more news going on that's breaking. And this, like I said, this is probably not breaking. This has been going on for a couple days, but I only come on once a week. So it's breaking to me. So there you got it. You got the two morons from the Wizard of Oz saying it's for gay people. Veterans Day was November 11th. Remember Veterans Day. Thank you. Memorial Day. You just remember those that passed and, lay wreaths or put flags up at veterans' grave sites. Then you have the geniuses in Massachusetts upset that they're going to honor police officers with traditional St. Michael, who's the patron saint of police officers. And I believe the other saint is the patron saint of firefighters. Can't do that. That's going to offend those 15 people. So we've got to stop everything to make sure that those mouth breathers are happy and everyone's life can get back on track once those knuckle draggers are good. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. It's to the point where common sense is so rare, like the title of the show, that it should be considered a superpower now. You should be considered a superhero if you have common sense because it's lacking everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's no common sense. It's all based on feelings. If I don't like it, then it's bad. If I like it, then it's good. And if I don't like it, nobody else can like it either. And if you do like it, you're bad. Or I'm going to sue you. Or I'm going to destroy it or whatever. There's no more common sense like it used to be back when I was younger. If you didn't like something, you just didn't pay attention to it. You walked by it. You ignored it. And your life went on. Just because you didn't like something doesn't mean your life came to a screeching halt. You didn't rush out and get a lawyer and start suing people because they're putting a statue up. Separation of church and state. It's freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, you idiots. They can put it up. They can put up the 10 Commandments. They can put up the Star of David. They can put up the Quran. It doesn't matter. They are not forcing you to adhere to that religion. That's what that means. The state can't force you to worship in a certain religion or a certain way. They can't. That's what it means. Doesn't mean they can't put things up. Christ almighty. If you can quote the Constitution, learn the goddamn Constitution. I'm sick of this. Just because you read it doesn't mean you understand it. Just because you see it on Yahoo or on Google or Facebook or Twitter doesn't make you a legal scholar. Makes you somebody with too much free goddamn time on their hands. Get a job or a hobby. Stop hassling the rest of us who are having a good time. Enjoying our lives and trying to get through it. Don't need your added drama to what we got going on already. You don't like the statues, don't look at it, move on. People are just getting annoying. Super annoying. Or maybe I'm just getting older and I got less tolerance for bullshit. I don't know. Or maybe it's like 50-50. I don't know. So I don't know if all of you are aware or not. I live in Maryland, which is a ridiculous state. They've increased taxes, I think like $1.5 billion. And we're still short. They've raised taxes on registering your vehicles, everything. You name it, they've increased the taxes. But we're still a sanctuary state. We still allow illegal immigrants to come in here. We still pay them SNAP benefits. We still give cash to assistance to them. Because it's not the state's money, it's our money, they don't care. They'll just keep taxing us until they can get all these people paid. Rather than go, no, we're no longer a sanctuary state. You have to be a legal citizen to be here. If we find you, we're going to have ICE remove you and send you back to your country of origin. No, Wes Moore, in his infinite wisdom, just wants to tax all Marylanders to death. It's okay because we're helping people. You struggling in Maryland is helping somebody who shouldn't be here in the first place. It's like when the layoffs happened, he started using taxpayer money to pay people who are out of work, knowing that the federal government was going to pay them when they came back to work. So we're paying people money that we don't have. SNAP benefits. The state of Maryland paid SNAP benefits. We don't have the money. We're in a deficit of, I think it was $1.2 billion. But they're throwing all this money out. Property taxes are going up on January 1st. I think 4%. Gas tax is going up another 2 cents. But he's throwing out money like it's growing on trees. We don't have the money in Maryland. We don't. It's not an opinion. It's not a guess. It's a fact. We are in the hole $1 billion in the state of Maryland. So where he's getting his money from, I don't know. Why people voted for that idiot, I don't know. But he's spending money he doesn't have. Or no, he's spending our money that we don't have and then just taxing us. That's why Maryland is losing so many people a year because nobody can afford to live here. I think it's one of the most unfriendly states for retirees. I think it's in the top 5 for that. I think it's one of the top 10 most restrictive states for small businesses. And we're probably just below California and a couple other states for taxes. It's a joke. If I could afford to move, I'd move. But I can't because I live here and I got to pay goddamn taxes. So in Maryland, this is just incredible. This should make you angry just reading about this. In Maryland, there's a man who was released with no bail, just released for assaulting a woman and a child. I believe he lived with them or some such nonsense because, that's love when you beat your wife or girlfriend and kids. That's an expression of love. James Bowman, and it still allegedly hasn't gone to court yet, hit a woman and her toddler. I'm sorry, not even a child, a toddler. Again, after he was freed from Maryland court on domestic violence charges, went back to the same house the same day after being arrested and beat them again. Only in Maryland would this happen. Only in Maryland. Because it's not fair to charge people bail. Because that's what would they say? That only affects poor people. So there should be no bail for anybody. You should be able to be released. And this is what you get. You get criminals who don't give a shit. You send them back out the same day and they commit the same crime against the same people. And everybody's shocked in Maryland. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Really, you can't believe that happened. Have you been to Baltimore? It's the world's largest outdoor shooting range. They are killing people there wholesale. It is the 3rd most dangerous city in the country. Again, we got a mayor there who spends $120,000 on his vehicle to get driven around that hellhole. You got the squeegee boys who stand on the corner and wash your window. If you don't pay them, they get violent. Now we got people get released from jail the same day for assault and go back to the same house and assault the same people again. And people don't understand why this is happening. I'll tell you why it's happening, because you have liberals in office that don't believe in accountability. The liberals in Maryland base punishment on race. If you're black, you're not going to get any trouble. We're going to cut you loose like this guy. If you're white, we're going to slam you, put you in prison. If you're an illegal immigrant from Mexico, it's okay. You can stay here. We're going to pay for everything. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. Maryland is a joke. It's no better than California. No better. And there's no better than the other liberal states. If you commit a crime in Maryland, you got a 50-50 shot of leaving the same day with no bail. And it shouldn't be that. If you assault, like this guy did, a woman and her child, toddler, you assault them. You're charged with domestic violence. Your ass should stay in jail until your court date, or at the very least, you should get a restraining order that says you can't come back there. Not that a piece of paper kept anybody away from anybody, but at least it's another thing you can charge them with when he goes back to the same house the same day and beats the same people again. This is ridiculous. This is why I think everybody that can legally carry a weapon should carry a weapon. So when people like this come back for a second round, you put a bullet in their head and you're done with them. People like this only understand and will react to violence. You can't talk to this guy. Obviously, he's got the IQ of a flip-flop. Obviously, he's got issues. No one who's made a mistake would go back to the same house and commit the same crime on the same day. If it was a mistake, you'd be like, oh shit, I made a mistake. I'm staying away from them. I'm going about my business. I'm not going to go back to that house and get myself in any more trouble. I'm done. I'm not going back over there. So if you go back to the same house and do the same crime, you deserve to be shot. It's that simple. You are not a productive member of society. Productive members of society don't go beating on women and toddlers. That's not the sign of a productive member. That's the sign of a criminal, a dangerous human being. You do it once, okay, you're going to go to jail, we'll take care of it. But you come back the same day to do it again, yes, you deserve to be shot. That simple. But in Maryland, you can't have a gun. They don't even want cops to have guns in Maryland. They don't want anybody to be armed in Maryland. So crap like this will continue to go on. Baltimore will remain a dangerous city because good, honest people can't defend themselves legally. You can't. And what these people don't understand in Maryland is all they got to do is open their eyes and look that the only people that don't have guns are the law-abiding citizens. The criminals are armed to the teeth. They got all the guns because they don't listen to laws. That's why they're called criminals. Law-abiding citizens will listen to the law, regardless if it makes themselves vulnerable to criminals. They just will follow the law. And this is what happens. Criminals come back the same day to commit the same crime against the same people. The state's not going to hold them accountable. Who's going to hold them accountable? Wes Moore? That jackass? The liberals in Annapolis? The impotent Republican Party in Maryland? Who's going to stand up and who's going to stand up for this lady and her Tyler? Who's going to stand up for the people that are mugged and raped and assaulted in Baltimore City? When are they going to do something about being ranked the third most dangerous city in America for like the fourth year in a row? When are they going to do anything about that? When is somebody going to go, wait, this is enough? This is ridiculous. Honest people in Baltimore are afraid to go out there at night. You can't go down to the Inner Harbor at night anymore because that's where you get mugged. That's where the criminals hang out. But Maryland's not going to do anything about it. They're not even going to make you pay bail. They're just going to send you home. Promise not to do it again. And you better show up for your court date. Okay, you can go home. It's horrible that somebody actually had to go through that. And it's going to keep happening, especially in Maryland. Maryland used to be, we used to have governors in the state that while they were Democrat, still cared about the people in the state and did what they can to help. Now we get morons in office that are more concerned about fighting with the president than they are about the people that they represent. They're more concerned about filing lawsuits with taxpayer money that we don't have anymore in Maryland to fight the president than they are to try to help the people of Baltimore. That's what we have in office. We have a Republican Party in Maryland. That's a joke. That is a joke. They are cowards, and they would rather get invited to parties than do the right thing. And it's not going to stop in Maryland. I speak more about Maryland because that's where I live. Now, I'm not saying other states are just as bad or not worse. I'm sure that California is a toilet bowl. I mean, that's what LA was burning, and Gavin Newsom was more concerned about what Trump was doing while the city burnt to the ground. I mean, it's going on in every state that has liberal leadership, Democratic leadership. I'm speaking about Maryland more because that's where I live. It's just horrible. I mean, I can't imagine being that lady, being assaulted and then watching her toddler be assaulted by James Bowman. Police come arrest him, take him away, and you're thinking, oh, great, this is over. He's done. He's going to jail. I'm going to worry about it. I'm safe. And then like 3 hours later, guy kicks your door in again. Same guy kicks your door in again and does the same thing to you. Same day. What are you supposed to think at that point? Like, damn, I'm just unlucky? Did I piss God off or something? No, you live in Maryland. It's a joke. It's that simple. They're not going to put this guy in jail. I guarantee you he got arrested again and cut loose again by some liberal judge that thinks it's more important to give hugs and handshakes than it is to hold criminals accountable and put them in jail. And it's going to continue. It will continue. It'll get worse. Just like everything, if you don't stop it soon, it gets worse. It snowballs. Like anti-Semitism in America. It went from just a couple of idiots running their mouths to now it's mainstream. You got people doing podcasts that are spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric. You've got politicians who are spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric. You've got organizations' sole purpose is anti-Semitic rhetoric. It's gotten worse. Assaults are up. Vandalism against synagogues is up year over year over year. I'm telling you, the criminals will get worse in Maryland. Once they find out that they're not going to get held accountable, they're not going to have to post bail, and they're going to get cut loose the same day, what is to stop them from continuing doing what they're doing? What's the deterrent? Really? They don't got to pay money, so they don't show up for court. They don't lose anything. They're not getting held overnight at the very least. They're getting cut out the same day. So, I miss a couple hours on the street. What the hell? What are witnesses going to start thinking? Well, shit, if I testify, tell the cops what happened, This guy's going to be out the same day. He's going to come get me. I'm not saying shit. I didn't see nothing. Didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing. And I wouldn't blame anybody. I mean, we need to stop being so concerned about what happens to criminals and, what happened in their life and their upbringing and how, life hasn't been fair to them, and worry about the victims. I don't care about the criminals. Very few criminals are acting, without knowing what the problem, without doing what they know is not right. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know it. Very few. Those with extreme mental problems might have it like, well, I didn't know that was wrong, or I wasn't know what I was doing. And that's a rare occasion. That's the exception, not the rule. But criminals know what they're doing. So I don't feel sorry for them. Not at all. Now, there's different varieties of criminals. Shoplifters, you know what? Pay the fine, get the hell out of here, whatever. Jaywalkers, speeders, things like that. As long as the crime doesn't affect anybody else around them, doesn't hurt anybody, fine. Then I'm okay with, send them home the same day, whatever. But when you start talking about crimes where people are assaulted or property is purposely damaged or there's drugs or weapons or violence involved, that changes the whole dichotomy. You have to hold those people accountable. They have to understand that there are repercussions for their actions. Sending them home the same day with no bail teaches them nothing. Obviously. It obviously taught this idiot nothing. And who paid the price? The victim. How likely do you think she is now to go to court and testify against that guy? Would you? Would you testify against this guy in open court, knowing the day he assaulted you, he was cut loose, charged with domestic violence, but allowed to go home by a judge who put no bail? How comfortable and secure would you be in testifying against that man and know he would not be back out that same day? I wouldn't. I wouldn't take the chance, especially if you're a single parent. You can't, because it's not about you at that point. It's about you and your child. And this guy's assaulted the toddler, allegedly assaulted the toddler. Why would you take a chance? Suppose he gets the same judge again that sent him home with no bail. And the judge goes, well, I think he's really sincere in his apology. We'll give him community service and unsupervised probation and send him home. That's Maryland. That is Maryland. And it's sad. I feel sorry for victims of crimes that are going to start happening when people aren't held accountable, and that the same criminal comes back and commits the same crime against them again. I feel for them. I truly feel for those people. And if you're thinking of moving to Maryland, don't. I wouldn't live here if I had a choice. It is a shit state. They overtax you. And they don't. Apparently, it's okay to break the law in Maryland now. They're not going to hold you accountable. Don't move to Maryland. Stay the hell out.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So here we got Damon Galdo, the Hammer, has his podcast and has a radio show too. I actually went up to Jersey November 4th to help him with his election evening party. It was pretty cool. Haven't been that part of Jersey. It was fun. I had a good time. A couple people that were there enjoyed the evening too much, drank a little too much, and you know how that goes. And that's fine. It happens to everybody. I don't think any less of them. But it was a good time. Everybody there was very friendly. Had a good time. I think it was Skeeter's Pub in Blackwood, New Jersey. Great place, bigger than I thought it would be. It's pretty big. Had outdoor, indoor, bar, restaurants. Nice place, good food. Bartenders were really liberal with their drinks, apparently. But yeah, great bar. If you live by there, I'd go there and hang out. It's a nice place. But yeah, I hung out with Damon and Damon that night, met them both. Um, Alexandria Levine, I know I've met several times in real life. She's very smart, has a good show. She's the White House correspondent. She gets to go to all those high class, bougie things for the network, which is fine. That's cool. She has a good time and covers it well and brings back good information. So she does a good job. And apparently, we're adding a new podcast here. I don't want to go into too far because we don't know that we haven't finalized anything yet, but he'll be here soon. And then at the first of the year, I was told by Damon Sherrod that apparently we have 4 or 5 new podcasters that want to come on the network as well and do their own show. So we are growing pretty quick. Well, not quick. I mean, it's been a while, but the word's getting around. People want to be a part of it. And that's cool. So if you want to be a part of the America's Pulse Network, just go to www.americaspulsenetwork.com. And then the upper right corner, left corner, the 3 little lines for the menu. Click on that. Submit a application to be a podcaster, and Mr. Sherrod will get in touch with you. It's a pretty painless process. We don't do anything crazy. We don't do a credit check or a background check or want DNA or blood or anything like that. It's pretty easy. But yeah, if you're interested, just go ahead and do that. Or if you're looking and you want to help sponsor the network, same thing, 3 lines, click on it and hit submit a application to be a sponsor. Again, it's very painless. It's pretty quick. But yeah, there's that. Good times. So I don't know if you heard about this. This is pretty interesting. I filed this under stupidity, ultimate stupidity. Yeah, it's when you see when we start talking about it, you understand what I mean. Suspected Haitian gang members exchange fire with U.S. Marines protecting U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, I made a mistake. It's okay. I'll get on with it. And 10 being, what the shit were you thinking, you goddamn moron? This would be a 25. I can't imagine being in a gang, number one, because you're in a gang. You're not organized. You're not trained. You're not tight. You're a gang. You're criminals. And you're walking around. And apparently earlier in the day in Port-au-Prince, there's like a riot. So things were probably kind of heated. These guys were, probably got done beating up old people or picking on people that didn't have guns and thought that, they were Billy Badass. They're walking down the street. And apparently there was Marines by the embassy, if I read this correctly. And the words were exchanged, and then it started into shooting. I wonder at what point these morons thought, hey, maybe we should start shooting at the Marines. Yeah, because we got a pretty good chance of getting them. Why would you pick on a group of people whose nickname is Devil Dog? Why? Were you having a bad day? Did you get in a fight with the wife? Did your parole officer give you a hard time? What happened that made you think that would be a smart move to open fire on U.S. Marines? Did you think they weren't going to shoot back? Are you one of these people that think the guns they carry don't have bullets in them? They're just for show. They got to get permission to load them. I have done some stupid things in my life, and I'm not going to deny it, some really dumb things. But I'd like to think, no matter how dumb I've gotten or will be, I don't think I would ever cross my mind to start shooting at U.S. Marines. What's the saying? Every Marine in the Marine Corps is a rifleman. They're all trained. This is what they live for. I'm sure when they started getting shot at, the Marines while they're eating their crayons, are probably like, oh my God, this is really happening. We get to kill people now. They're Marines. They are there to kill or be killed. That is it. and you're going to start shooting at them? Would you think you're going to scare them? Think you're going to intimidate them and they're going to run away? Like, oh my God, they're shooting at us. We got to hide. I can't imagine the gang, what they were thinking when they started shooting. And like for the first couple seconds, nothing's coming back. And they're like, oh yeah, we got these guys. We're a Haitian gang. They're afraid. And all of a sudden, this automatic gunfire comes back at them. I wonder how many. Well, I think they killed 9 of them or hit 9. It doesn't say if they were killed or not, but they shot 9 of them. I wonder if that was as they were running away. Like, oh my God, they're actually shooting back. We need to get the hell out of here. My 22 single shot rifle is not going to hold up against these guys. That's again classified under the stupidest thing you could do. This is a duh moment. Shooting at Marines. Haiti has apparently been overrun with gangs for a couple years now. They're having a big problem. They've got police that are afraid to do their job because these gangs are out running around. And I mean, they're dumb enough to shoot at Marines. You can imagine what else they're doing. And like I said, I think earlier that day there was a riot, and I don't know if the police quelled that, and these guys were still fired up, but they decided to let their balls do their thinking for them and picked on the wrong group of people. There's nothing more frightening than a U.S. Marine and his weapon. That's just how it is. And you almost want to feel sorry for the Haitian gang. Like, oh my God. Really? Good, dude. Stop. Just run. But then you think they're gangs and they're criminals. I really don't feel sorry for them. They brought it on themselves. You start shooting at somebody in fatigues, and you know the Marines, you need to understand they're going to shoot back, and they're a much better shot than you. So that happened in Haiti, I think a couple days ago. Excuse me. A group of suspected Haitian gang members fired this week on American forces protecting the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince, a spokesman said Saturday. In an incident that highlighted the tense security situation in the Caribbean nation, Captain Stephen J. Keenan, a spokesman for the U.S. Marines, wrote in an email the shooting, which came to light this weekend, happened Thursday, adding that the Marines returned fire and no Marines were hurt in the attack. Haitian police were not immediately available for comment on the exchange of fire. What are they going to comment about? These idiots shot at Marines shot them back and killed them. The end. I don't know what else there is to comment on. It just seems every day, every week, every month, criminals are getting more fearless. They're doing whatever they want when they want to whoever they want to. And it's not just America. Obviously, it's everywhere now. They're just doing what they want to do. You got Venezuela, who's allowing drug cartels to run drugs out of their country. And they get upset when the U.S. Navy sinks the drug runners. They're fishermen. Well, if they're fishermen, how come none of these families have come forward to sue the United States for killing their fisherman husband or brother? Why has nobody come forward and said that? Because they're not fishermen, they're drug runners. If you think for 1 second that the U.S. Navy is just indiscriminately firing on ships that come out of Venezuela, hoping they hit a drug running boat, you're crazy. They know what's going on. They know who's got the drugs. They know what boats are in, and they're very surgical in what they're doing. The USS Gerald Ford is on its way down there. I don't know if it's on its way. It's probably already there. The U.S. largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, arrived in waters close to Venezuela on Tuesday, with additional warships and thousands of extra personnel in tow. President Maduro has repeatedly appealed for peace, including saying in English, while insisting the South American country is willing and able to respond to U.S. attack. No, they're not. The U.S. Navy is the most formidable Navy on the planet. They would never, ever see it coming. They wouldn't know what hit them. It would be over before it started for them. It would be done. Do I think we're going to start bombing Venezuela? I hope not. I really don't think we should. Should we keep attacking the narcos? Yes. Attack the cartel? Yes. because that's not just hurting America, that's hurting the world. They're not just dealing drugs in America, they're dealing drugs everywhere. People are affected by drugs are all around the globe. Officials briefed Trump on a handful of different options for military operations inside Venezuela this week. CNN reported on Saturday, citing 4 anonymous sources. I love when they say anonymous. They're probably making it up, but that covers their ass. When you say an anonymous source told me, you've covered your ass. The president told reporters on board Air Force One on Friday he had sort of made up my mind about potential military action in the country, but offered no further details. So let me be perfectly clear. I do not believe that we should be involved in any war with the Venezuelan government or people. We should not invade Venezuela. We should not bomb Venezuela. We should not do anything to them. We should focus on the cartels that are operating inside Venezuela. We should give Venezuela every opportunity to clean house on their own without us. If they decide not to do anything about it, then yes, we are left with no choice but to take out the criminal element, the cartels in Venezuela that are killing hundreds of thousands of people a day around the world. I don't think Maduro should be making statements that he can to respond, is willing and able to respond to a U.S. attack. He's not. And I'm not knocking him as a leader, because you're a leader. You want to make sure your people know that you have confidence in them and that you know they're going to do what they got to do to protect their country. I get it. I understand that. I can respect that almost. But you don't want to poke a bear. You don't want to sit there and go, we can respond to any U.S. attack when you know you can't. That's an unreasonable and unattainable expectation you have. You can't compete with the U.S. Navy. You can't compete with the U.S. Marines. You can't compete with the U.S. Army. You can't compete with the U.S. Air Force. You can't. Even other countries that are modernized would have a difficult time keeping up with our military. The U.S. Navy, again, is the most formidable Navy in the world. Venezuela is a third world nation. They're using Soviet tanks from the 80s. I think they have 25 jet fighters, no bombers, a few helicopters, and I think they have a standing army of 100,000 people. And I think some of that's civilians, like a militia. They are in no way able to respond to anything we do. And the sooner he just realizes that, the sooner things will get better. And I guarantee you, if he said, look, we're going to take care of the cartels in our country. If you could assist us, that would be great, but we want to take the lead. Things have changed. Like, okay, good, you do what you got to do. We'll help you. You call when you need us. But if you keep denying that there's drugs in your country, you keep denying that the boats that we're sinking are drug boats, and you make these statements that you could respond to U.S. attack, again, you're not assuming any responsibility for the drugs coming out of your country. You're blaming everybody else. Everybody else is the bad guy, not me. I actually think there's even a warrant out for his arrest, Maduro's arrest for drugs, international drug smuggling, I believe. Trump said last month he had authorized the CIA to carry out covert operations in Venezuela, but the green light strikes on the land and in the country would be a significant step up in Washington's involvement. It is generally thought that the White House would stop well short of an invasion of Venezuela, which would jar Trump's America First agenda and recall unpleasant memories of U.S. intervention in Panama and Afghanistan. The Senate failed earlier this month to impose checks on the administration after lawmakers on both sides of the aisle petitioned for more information on the rationale behind the strikes on the alleged narco boats. And I agree with that. If there's any information that shows that these were narco boats, that should be released to the that people should know. That way, these people are saying we're after killing fishermen, will shut up. And if they did kill fishermen, then there needs to be accountability. Heads have to roll. Again, I don't think, the Navy is just willy-nilly firing at ships that come out of Venezuela, hoping they hit the right one. I'm sure they've got intel. The president just said he's authorized the CIA to carry out covert operations in Venezuela, which means they probably got people at the docks watching what boats are coming out and then marking them. Like, hey, the boat that just left at this time, traveling this direction, that looks like this, it's drug boat, sink it. This is not just all of a sudden we're going to just start shooting at people. But yeah, there needs to be some openness, some transparency about what's going on. Not everything, because yes, I understand it's an operation. You can't tell everybody what's going on. You can't tell us all everything that's happening, but you can let out enough details so people are a little bit better with what's going on. Like, okay, yeah, they are drug ships, they are drug runners. Okay, I can get behind that now. Because there's a lot of people out there that don't care that they're drug runners. They think we should stop them in international waters and arrest them, bring them to the U.S., put them on trial, and then put them in jail. Again, these are the same people that would cut criminals loose the same day they commit a crime to let them go do it again. They're been designated a terrorist organization. They're treating a terrorist organization the way they should be treated. They're killing them. That's what you do with terrorists. When they're designated a terrorist organization, you kill them. That's how it's done. We're not the only country that does that. Every other country in the world that designates a group a terrorist organization kills them. They don't arrest them. They kill them. They hunt them and kill them. Because that's what terrorists do. They kill people. Except they don't do it like the government when we're just killing them. Terrorists kill everybody. Just look at Israel. They kill men, women, and children. They don't care. So yeah, if they are terrorists, if they are drug runners, they're getting what they get. And I don't want to hear about whether they're uneducated, it's the only work they can get. I find it hard to believe that in Venezuela, the only job you can find is running drugs. That the entire country is built on cocaine money. That there's nothing else to work at except cocaine manufacturing or cocaine distribution. No, that's a cop-out answer. And I'm sure they're having a hard time filling those boats now because every time they leave the port, they're getting shot up. So I'm sure nobody wants to do it anymore. And I will say that Madrone, I think last week, they shot down 3 planes. They shot down 3 planes in Venezuela that they thought were running drugs through the air. So maybe they are starting to realize, hey, we have to assume some responsibility here. These drugs are coming out of our country. We know the cartels are here. We need to do something because we cannot fight the cartels and the United States. The United States wants to fight the cartels, then we should fight with them to kill the cartels. It's a no-brainer. Cartels aren't good people. We're not talking about people dealing weed. We're talking about people dealing fentanyl and heroin and cocaine. So I don't understand why these people, we need to understand the plight of these people and come to an understanding. No, we don't. And yes, I understand that they only deal drugs because there's a market for it here. I get it. No one's forcing these people to do drugs. They do it because it's available. So maybe if we take the supply away or dwindle the supply a little bit, maybe we can start getting these addicts some help. Get them off the streets at the very least. Something. But as long as there's a free flow of drugs into this country, there's no reason to get healthy. There's no reason to stop. So start killing them. The drug dealers, the drug runners, the cartels, the ones peddling poison to people, kill them. Because they're killing others. And all we do is stand by and watch it. Again, the Venezuelan president gives a message to Donald Trump, and I just read that in English. He wants the peace, doesn't want there to be unnecessary wars, but again, his country is willing and able to retaliate should the Americans attack them. And again, they can't. And I applaud the confidence. I mean, you know what? You're talking a really good game, but I hope they don't call your bluff. I really don't. I hope not. I hope they're building up I hope they're doing this to scare the cartels. I hope this is a message to them more than it's a message to Maduro and the Venezuelan government. And what they need to start doing is letting the people of Venezuela know that we're not there for you. We don't carry on with your lives. We're here for the drug dealers. We're here for the cartels. We're here for the drug smugglers. Not everybody else, just them. Because God knows what their government's telling them. And I'm sure it's not that we're just there for the cartels. They're probably saying, they're going to invade us. They're going to get us. And here's some information on the USS Gerald Ford. It's the super carrier is what it's called. Is an unofficial media term for the largest class of aircraft carriers, typically defined as those displacing over 65,000 to 100,000 long tons. That's the water they push off to stay afloat and that's a lot. These ships are essentially mobile air bases and often feature nuclear power, allowing them to project immense air power globally. The U.S. Navy's Nimitz class and Gerald R. Ford class carriers are the primary examples in active service today. So, the Gerald Ford is a super carrier. The Nimitz class, I guess, would be called a normal carrier, which is still, I don't know if you've ever been on one. I've been on one. They are immense. They're floating cities. So I can't imagine what it's like being on a super carrier. It's probably like 2 cities. It's probably like a major airport. Thousands of people on board. So that's what Venezuela is dealing with. Or not them. That's what the cartels are dealing with. And that's who it should be dealing with, not the Venezuelan people. But like I said, we need to control that narrative because who knows what those people are being told. And yes, I understand the cartels are scared. I'm sure they execute and kill people there all the time. But that's even more reason that they would want us to come there and kick them out. I don't know. Maybe it's the drug culture. Maybe it's because, it's generational there that, hey, you work in the poppy fields or whatever, the coca fields. And your father did it, your grandfather did it, and your great-great-grandfather was a smuggler. Who knows? But that doesn't make it right. And it's got to change. And you can't stop an addict from being an addict. All you can do is work on the supply. Take away the supply, things can start to change. And we'll never get rid of the supply completely. I understand that. That's a pipe dream. But we can slow it up. We can make it more difficult. And that's what we're doing. And if every country tightened up a little bit with this, maybe it wouldn't be such a big issue as it is worldwide as it is now. Who knows? Who knows? But that's what's going on in Venezuela. I'm sure we're going to talk about that Wednesday night on the Pulse. That's where we all get together and talk about everything going on. Hopefully nothing pops off there before then, and we can still be talking about what if.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Again, that was Alexandra Levine, the White House correspondent. I think I might be on her show Tuesday evening. Just depends on a couple things before I commit to that. But I should be on there Tuesday. I think she starts at 8, I believe. But yeah, we'll find out more about it. And just some facts on what's going on in Venezuela. At least 80 people have been killed in U.S. strikes on 20 alleged drug boats in the Southern Caribbean and Eastern Pacific since early September. Trump and other top officials have said these vessels were carrying drugs bound for the U.S. Of course, this has garnered disdain from some people in the U.S. government who think, it's not a good thing that we're doing. Heavy criticism is potentially breaching international law and jeopardizing U.S. international standing. As intended to pressurize Maduro, force the authoritarian Venezuelan leader to flee Caracas, U.S. authorities have offered a $50 million reward for information leading to his arrest. He faces narco terrorism and other drug-related charges in the U.S. The strikes have come hand in hand with a massive military buildup around Venezuela. That's just a little bit of what's going on. So 80 people have been killed. I am willing to bet they were drug runners. And again, Maduro's repeatedly appealed for peace, saying he's willing and his country's willing and able to retaliate if the U.S. decides to attack. And again, that's not true. They can't, which is kind of sad that they'd even say something like that. But it is what it is, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and the Venezuelan government will finally realize, we need to do something about the drugs coming from our country. And then all this will be forgotten in a couple of weeks. but who knows? So the next segment is pretty much just things that caught my eye and want to discuss and talk about in no particular order or no particular order of importance either. It's just things that I thought would be interesting. These nuts. I mean, these are the people that wore the pussy hats, code pink. I mean, idiots. Idiots. That's all I can say about them. They have a group, or they have a bill that has been introduced by Rashid Tlaib. Yeah, that camel jockey. Introduced a resolution accusing Israel of committing genocide, and that we should place, things against them, make sure they get not tariffs, goods and services should be withheld from them, and blah 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 blah. Not once have any of these people come out and condemned Hamas for October 7th. Not once have they talked about the rape and murder of women, the beheading of children burned alive, people kidnapped and held hostage for over 200 days. Not once have any of these idiots come out against that. They're focused solely on Israel, which leads me to believe it's not about anything else other than the Jews. They don't like Jews. Because if you were truly against genocide, you'd also be against Hamas for killing 1,300 people out of the blue, invading another country, killing people and taking hostages. You'd be against that as well. You'd be against Hamas for starving their own people, for taking the billions of dollars of aid that they receive from the world, and they turn around and build tunnels with it and buy rockets. You'd be against that. But if you're a goddamn moron like this idiot chick is, you're not focused on the facts. You're all driven by emotion. Israel bad because they're defending themselves. Doesn't matter that women were raped and killed, that children were killed. Doesn't matter. Israel bad. And while this is going on, I wonder if she knows what's going on in Africa, where thousands and thousands of Jews are being killed every day. Not Jews, Christians are killed every day by Muslims. I wonder if she knows about that, or if she even cares. I bet you she doesn't, because it doesn't involve Jews. Jews aren't the bad guys, so they don't care. And if it's Muslims killing people, that's probably okay in her book too. Let me find the notes on that. I've got them here. Yeah, it's just these people are frightening because people follow Code Pink. People think they're doing a good thing. That's what scares me. People have stopped thinking. In Cameroon, at least 20 Christians have been killed in Nigeria's Tarib state in the last 24 hours. 20 people, it's one person an hour, simply because they're Christian. In what has been seen as a worsening specter of Christian persecution in the West African country. Reports say Fulani herdsmen, Muslims, stormed homes and places of Christian worship in multiple settlements in the Wakari local government area between November 9th and 11th. Truth Nigeria describes the attacks as coordinated, with the attackers firing indiscriminately into homes of people they believed to be Christian. People were preparing to go to mass around 6 a.m. when they heard the sound of motorcycles followed by machine guns and screaming. Why is she not talking? This has been going on for decades. 2 million people have been displaced in these countries in Africa. Over 300,000 Christians have been killed in the last 10 years. That's genocide. That's what the definition of genocide is, trying to wipe out an entire race of people. Israel's killed, 64,000 people, according to the Hamas, or the Palestinian Health Authority, who has changed that number 3 or 4 times and has even said that they don't discriminate between combatants and non-combatants. They lump them together. So we don't know for sure how many people have been killed. Let's just say it's 64,000. Let's assume that they're honest people. We all know they're not. That they're honest about the numbers. They're not just trying to paint themselves as victims. And it's 64. Do you think all 64,000 people that the Israelis have killed have been all civilians? That they haven't killed one Hamas person? In the last 2 years, they've killed nothing but civilians. Do you really believe that? And if you do, you're stupid. You know nothing other than you don't like Jews and you want to blame them for everything. You can't fight a war for 2 years and not kill an enemy combatant. Can't do it. Can't happen. Even if you're trying not to kill enemy combatants and you bomb the country, you're going to hit one or two. So anybody believes that there's no combatants that have been killed and it's all women and children that are being killed by Israel, you're an idiot. You are truly an idiot, and I hope that you don't breed because you're just going to pollute the gene pool further. So out of the 64,000 that were killed, let's assume 20,000 were civilians and the rest were enemy combatants, which seems about right. 40,000 combatants, 25 civilians caught in, collateral damage, which is horrible, very horrible. But can you name me another war where only 20,000 people, civilians, have been killed? Can you name one? No, because that's never heard of. Israel has gone out of their way to the cost of their own people's lives to make sure and try to minimize the damage against civilian targets. They're trying to. But you know what makes it hard, Code Pink, you idiot? Hamas hides in schools. They hide in hospitals. They hide in communities. They fire rockets from these places. Their base of operations are in the hospitals and schools. So what is Israel supposed to do? Just not fight because, they're in a school, we can't do anything, let them keep killing and raping my people? Shucks, I'm sorry. No, that's not how the real world works. If you go into another country and you rape and kill people and then you run and hide in a school, guess what happens? They're going to blow the school up because that's where you are. And if you're using your people as shields, it's not the people who you've attacked's fault. It's your fault. You're to blame for that. The blood is on your hands. If you hide behind kids after raping women and burning children alive, and they bomb where you're at because that's where where they found you hiding, and kids are killed because that's where you're hiding with kids, that's your fault. Nobody else's. You can't blame anybody else for that because you chose to hide there. You chose to use the children as shields, hoping that would keep them away from you so you could come back and do it again. But everyone's tired of Hamas. We're all tired of terrorist organizations. They need to be killed. And that's what Israel's doing, and Code Pink doesn't like it. Code Pink doesn't like it simply because they're Jewish. Doesn't like Israel. Anti-Zionist. If you're an anti-Zionist, you're anti-Jewish. There's no way around it. All Zionism is the belief that the Jews are entitled to a home country and should be allowed to defend it. That's what Zionism means in a nutshell. So if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Jewish. And you can try to split hairs all you want and say you're not, but you are. And you're also pro-Hamas because you're not coming out against a terrorist organization that started all this. That's what everybody forgets. October 7th, Israel's minding their own business. People were at a music festival. People were farming on a kibbutz. People were at work. Hamas dropped in from the air, ran through fences, and shot into crowds of men, women, and children. Just shot, didn't care. They've got videos of Hamas dragging old people from their car and shooting them in the head on October 7th. They've got videos of Hamas shooting children on purpose, not on accident, targeting children. They have recorded phone calls of Hamas, whatever you want to call them, insurgents, calling their families while they're killing Jews, saying, "Mom, I killed 10 Jews today." Bragging about this. But that's okay with Code Pink. That's okay with the rest of these anti-Semites, these inbred pieces of shit. That's fine. Kill a Jew kid, doesn't matter. Rape a Jew woman, doesn't matter. But don't fight back if you're Jewish, because that makes you a bad guy, and we're going to call you out on it. And I'm glad Israel doesn't listen. I'm glad Israel doesn't care. I'm just upset that Israel decided to go into a ceasefire. If I were Israel, I would have turned that whole country into glass. I'd have killed them all. Because this is not just happening on October 7th. This happens every year. Over 400 rockets a year are shot into Israel from Gaza. 400 a year. Suicide bombers. Mass shootings. Every year. Not just this year. It's been going on for decades. And then as soon as Israel fires back, they're the bad guys. Not Hamas for hiding in schools. Not Hamas for hiding in hospitals. Israel for shooting back. Fuck them. Bunch of desert rats need to be killed. The world will be a better place if Hamas is eradicated. The world will be a better place if the Muslim Brotherhood is eradicated. The world will be a better place if terrorist organizations, I don't care who they are eradicated and removed from the need for oxygen. We would all be better off. And if you don't think we'd be better off, go to Gaza and live there. Live under Hamas. They don't feed their own people. They use you as human shields. The funniest thing in the world are the queers for Palestine. I don't know if you've seen them. That's like saying chickens for KFC. They execute homosexuals in the Middle East. They throw them off a roof. There's videos everywhere. But these people think if they went over, they'd be different because they're supporting them. No, it wouldn't. They'd kill you too. They'd kill you too. And I blame all that on the education system in this country. They don't teach the truth. They teach feelings. So you got Code Pink and that idiot Rashid Tlaib, that subhuman idiot. How she got elected, I don't know. She's anti-American. But she somehow got elected. That makes me feel so much better. And here's another thing going on that Code Pink is, and all these other anti-Semites are turning the black to. They're back on. While the world is distracted by the fake genocide in Israel, Iran has executed over 2,400 people this year alone. Political prisoners. They've executed, hung them, and beheaded them. Even seasoned observers are stunned by the regime's renewed campaign of killing. Families of the condemned are asking why no one in the world cares what's going on. It's because they're not Jews. The Jews aren't doing it, so they don't care. That's why no one's talking about it. Iran has long held the grim distinction of carrying out the most executions per capita in the world. Now it is in the midst of one of the deadliest waves of states killing in the decades. Analysts say more than 2,500 people were executed in the first 9 months of this year, surpassing last year's total, and 204 in September. 204 people were executed in September alone. 204 people, political prisoners. The executions have intensified as the regime confronts pressure at home and abroad. Across the country, prisoners are said to be on hunger strike, staging what may be their final protest against the regime. European dignitaries have signed an open letter warning the fate of the 17 political prisoners facing imminent execution. But the killing spree has otherwise gone largely unnoticed abroad. With the world transfixed by wars and spectacles of Israeli politics, Tehran appears to have found a rare window in which to kill without consequence. But it's okay, because Europe wrote a letter. They wrote a letter and said, stop. Don't do it anymore, stop. And that was it. These same European people are putting embargoes on Israel. But they just wrote a letter to Iraq. Stop killing people you don't agree with. Please stop. Or we'll write you another letter and ask you to stop again. Do you not understand what's going on? This has nothing to do with killing. This is a chance for anti-Semites to bask out in the sun and attack Jews with impunity and have an audience now. Do you think these same people that are condemning Israel for what they did would condemn us if, say, Mexico invaded Texas and killed what would be comparable? 30,000 people in Texas and took 2,000 people hostage and ran across the border. And we went over there and kicked Mexico's ass. Do you think these same people would be complaining then? No, because there's no Jews involved. They'd be fine with that then. Racism on any level is a sign of low intelligence. It's just very low intelligence, low class, low intelligence, mouth breathing, knuckle dragging, inbred stuff. But when you condemn the Jews for defending themselves, that's even lower. People were raped, beheaded, burned alive, and killed on October 7th. And the world expected Israel just to stand by and take it. Well, I'm glad they didn't. And I hope they don't stop. I hope they keep going until everyone in Hamas is killed. And then you keep hearing about, well, there's Muslims that, support Israel. Really, I haven't seen one on the news yet. Haven't heard one speaking out against Hamas. Not one. So until that happens, I don't believe it. Here you go. Again, going on the rest of the world that Code Pink's ignoring. These are 3 Christians in Africa that were beheaded by Muslims because they're Christian. And Muslims don't like any other religion except their own. They said that the streets will run with Christian blood. But it's Muslims doing the killing, so it's okay. Because if you say something against the Muslims, then you're an Islamophobe and you're racist. So it's okay for them to kill people or execute homosexuals or whatever it is they do, because no one wants to worship their God. This is acceptable behavior, and it's happening every day in Africa. Every day. They're burning churches, killing priests, killing followers of Jesus Christ simply because they're not Muslim. Every day. When the world is not saying shit about it. They're focused on the fake genocide in Gaza, while the real genocide is going on right there. Can you imagine being one of those three guys pushed down to your knees with some subhuman behind you with a machete, knowing that he's going to cut your head off? Simply because you're not a Muslim. Not because you've offended him or hurt him or done something to him that would result or warrant this type of behavior, just because your God has a different name. And Muslims have been doing this since recorded history. And to think they're going to stop, well, I got swampland in Arizona, I'll sell you. On to a little bit brighter news. There was a guy, I don't know if it was a guy, one person in Georgia who won the largest jackpot in Georgia's lotto history. $980 million. One person, one ticket. Can you imagine waking up knowing that the rest of your life you don't got to work another day? Your bills, don't got to worry about them. Your family, set for life. You get to relax. You get to live the good life now. It's awesome. I think the taxes they took out were $450 million. So almost, or a little, about half, 50%, a little shy, which is a lot. But $450 million, you're still set for life. But then they tax you every year on that. If you put it in the bank, they're going to tax you. If you spend it, they're going to tax you. Wasn't there a guy in West Virginia that won the lotto? I can't remember how long ago, but won like a couple million and then was bankrupt in like 4 years. I can't remember his name, but I remember something about that. But yeah, congratulations to that guy that just became a millionaire. 450 times over. See, I got to start buying lotto tickets. That would be nice. Didn't the lotto get up to like $1 billion once? Like $1 billion and 1.2, 1.3 billion? I mean, something like that, something ridiculously high. I think like 4 or 5 people won it. That's still pretty good. I'd be happy you winning like $1 million. Doesn't have to be multi. $1 million will do me good. I can survive on that for a while. Well, we're almost at the end of the show, so I'm going to cover some things real quick. Once again, I'm on Sunday nights at 7 till 8:30. Then you have Alexandra Levine has her show. Her starts Tuesday at 8. And again, I might be on that one. It just depends on some things tomorrow. Then we have the Hammer, Damien Galdo, who is a good guy, fun. I got to hang out with him and meet the other Damon in person last Tuesday in New Jersey. Fun. Even for Jersey, it was a good time. And then Wednesday, we all get together and do the Pulse, which we all talk about everything going on during the week. And we have a couple guests. Usually it's Elena Barbera. She's awesome. I love her. Check her out. Used to be Tim Fazenbaker would be on as well, but he's been running for office in Baltimore County, so he's been kind of busy, which is understandable. Hopefully he'll be back in a couple of weeks. So usually the other guest is a surprise to me as well. I don't know until I get on the show who it's going to be. Also, again, if you're looking to be a podcaster here, just go to www.America's Pulse Network and fill out the application. And again, if you'd like to sponsor anybody's show or just the network in general, again, go to www.americaspulsenetwork.com. It says at the bottom, click on the sponsorship in the upper right corner, then fill out the form and click submit. See, it's all painless. And again, please like and share this show with everybody you know. Share everybody's podcast with everybody you know. Like it, follow, and subscribe. We're on X, Rumble, Truth Social. I'm on Facebook too at the Conservative Corner. There's a lot of things for Alexander can rattle them all off. I can't. I get 3 out, and I'm like, duh, I don't know. But there you go. And you can follow me on X at Conservative Seth. It's good. I put more stuff up there than I do on Facebook because Facebook shadow bans people and restricts you because if you don't think like them, you're not a good person. Who knows? I don't like Facebook anyway. It's getting old. Okay, and get to that point in the show where I usually share an opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can laugh at me and ridicule me, or you can agree with me. Sometimes the opinion has something to do with the podcast. Sometimes it doesn't. It's completely random. This opinion in particular today has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just something that crossed my mind and I wanted to share. So I will read it to you, and you can let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Send me an email, singing telegram, whatever. A manager is hired. A leader is chosen. The difference begins the moment the team meets the new person in the corner office. A manager walks in with the mandate printed on thick paper, targets, head count, a budget, and that budget must not be exceeded. He opens the first meeting by laying out the rules, the reporting lines, the cadence of updates. He is polite, professional, and already thinking how to protect his own performance score. People nod, open their laptops, and begin translating his words into tasks they can finish before the next deadline. They respect the position, but do not respect the person. A leader walks in carrying almost nothing. Maybe a notebook, maybe just a quiet certainty. They spend the first 2 weeks asking questions and saying almost nothing in meetings except, tell me more. Or, what would happen if we stopped doing that? They eat lunch with people, whoever's in the break room, remember the names of the intern's dog, and notices who flinches when certain topics come up. By the end of the month, the team is already talking about possibilities they had stopped believing in years ago. Not because she ordered them to, but because they've made it safe for them to say it out loud. A manager controls time. He blocks calendars, sets checkpoints, and treats every hour as a resource that must be accounted for. A leader gives time back. They cancel recurring status meetings because you already know what needs to be done. And people discover they suddenly have 3 extra hours a week to think. A manager measures spreadsheets, velocity charts, utilization rates. When the numbers dip, he calls a meeting to explain variance. A leader also measures, but the most important metrics are invisible. How willing is someone to speak up at a meeting? How long does it take to get the new hire to laugh at the inside joke? Whether people linger in the office after hours because they want to, not because they have to. When crisis arrives, and it always does in the workplace, the difference becomes stark. The manager's instinct is triage and containment. He needs a root cause, a protective action plan, and, if possible, someone to blame who's below him on the ladder. A leader's instinct is to widen the circle. They pull in the exact people who are closest to the problem, give them the ugliest version of the truth, and ask what it would take if failure wasn't an option to fix this. They then stand aside while they let those people do their job, shoulder to shoulder, publicly and unmistakably. Managers often speak of accountability. Leaders speak rarely of it because they embody it. The team already knows that if the project ships late, they will walk into the executive review and say, it's on me, before anyone else has a chance to point the fingers. That single act purchases more loyalty than 100 team building offsites. Managers promote competence. Leaders promote courage. A competent person can execute the plan exactly as it's written. A courageous person can tell you the plan is wrong and propose a better one at the exact moment when it is most politically dangerous to do so. A leader knows the second skill is rarer and far more valuable, so they protect it wherever they find it, even if it makes their own life harder. Over the time, difference compounds. A team under management becomes efficient, predictable, quietly resigned. They meet their numbers, and every year a few of the best ones leave for something that feels far less than a transaction. A team under a leader becomes restless in the best way. They argue more, ship riskier things, and stay longer than anyone expected. When one of them eventually outgrows the role, the leader celebrates harder than anyone because that was the point all along. Years later, no one remembers the manager's quarterly targets. They remember the leader who, on the worst day of the project, ordered pizza at 2 a.m., rolled up their sleeves, and rewrote the code themselves, not because they had to, but because they refused to let the team fail alone. They remembered the way they looked at them in the eye and said, "We're going to fix this together. Then we're going to change things that made this possible in the first place." That is the divide. One keeps the world turning, the other changes the direction it's facing. Both are necessary, but only one is remembered. And that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. But there it is. Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out. It's 8:30. I appreciate your time. Those who watch it now and those who are going to watch it later, thank you very much. If you have any questions about anything I said, you can reach me at Conservative Seth on X, the Conservative Corner on Facebook, or you can post it here and I will get it on the chat at some point. Have a good day. I will see, or evening, not day, evening. Have a good evening, and I will see you Wednesday at 8 on the Pulse. Possibly Tuesday. I'm not sure yet. We'll post something if I'm going to be on that Tuesday at 8 on Alexander's show. And remember, if you live your life set on a base of principles and not a political party, you're going to lead a pretty good life. Everybody have a good evening, and I will see you soon.